Hello and welcome back to the channel, guys. I'm EVM and today I'm starting a project which will either go one of two ways. One, swimmingly, and everyone in the household won't even notice, or two, what I suspect will happen, I'll be banging my head against the wall and they will scream at me because I've made things worse. Essentially what I'm trying to do is create an integrated smart home with the intention of making energy use and various other things and convenience better, and therefore more efficient, and therefore I will spend less on energy, so it ultimately saves me money. At least that's the man maths that I'm using to buy all these smart devices. Now the system in question that I'm going to use is called Home Assistant. It can look something like this, can the central dashboard, or maybe something like this. Or if I'm really good at it, which I suspect I won't be, something like this. It's central control of all smart devices. Most of us have smart devices in the house right now. They're not uncommon, you know, smart bulbs, thermostats, CCTV system, basically anything that connects to a network. So rather than have 10 different apps looking after all these smart devices, it's all in one place. Because my main reason for doing this is so I can integrate my home battery system, which is like the core of the house. They do the solar panels. They've got all the smart plug control, so I can see what energy is being used where and control when it's used. So that's the plan, to have Home Assistant integrating the whole house. And in this video, I'm going to be installing Home Assistant, only doing a little bit of configuration, that will come in later videos, and increasing the network infrastructure in this house. Because the Wi-Fi is okay at best, patchy, and well, non-existent in some areas, so that needs sorting. And I want to physically cable up, in terms of network cabling, as many items as possible. If there's one thing that over 20 years in working in IT and being a geek has taught me, is that physical cable always trumps wireless. Having a robust backbone, so when things are integrated, they work. At least that's the plan. The first place to start is with what is going to run Home Assistant. Well, thankfully, because I am a nerd, in this void here, so this used to be just part of the room that went back. That means I have all this space here, this void underneath here, because it's just plasterboard, to put all my geeky stuff. Because technology works best when you don't see it. I need something to put Home Assistant on. Now, you can run it on something like a Raspberry Pi 4, but as I already have the server that's running 24/7, I can run it on that, and that means there's no extra overhead in terms of electricity consumption. This, at the moment, the media center I'll call it, is connected to this screen, and this does everything for us. The TV, films, recorded TV, that sort of stuff, everything is in one central place. But ultimately, underneath we have, it's just Windows. So again, I can create a virtual machine to run Home Assistant on. So that takes care of that. Now on to the networking. Turn that off. Right, so what I want to do is give this a physical connection. That means I can take it off wireless, because when it's streaming, you know, something like an Amazon Prime video, it will take a lot of bandwidth up, but ultimately that's not the main reason I'm doing it. I'm doing it because it will, again, make it more robust as well as being quicker. Should be quite easy, so I'm just going to take it off the wall, run the cables through the existing holes that you can sort of see here, and then put it down into this void, and well, job done. Now that's done, let me show you the rest of my plan to network everything up. This house is essentially a 2-story house on top of garages, so it's a 3-story house. Here is the floor I'm on right now, the living room, dining room, kitchen and so forth. And then on the top floor we've got all the bedrooms, and in this corner is the office, which I also want wiring up. We have a router in the corner behind the settee over there. That is already running behind the skirting boards into here. So everything needs to come from here now. So let me just move to the 3D map. Here we go. Yes, I've spent lots of time doing this. My intention is to essentially just drill straight down in this floor through the ceiling of the garage and run the cables that way, because I don't mind cables running along a wall in a garage. I can run a cable nice and easy to the home battery system, which is there, to the heat pump controller, which is there, in a roundabout way get all around here to the charger in the corner, which is in the other garage, but essentially it means that floor is wired up. As I said, the Wi-Fi controller currently is in the corner of the middle floor, which is good, but it's right in the corner of the house. So the kitchen, for example, not very good signal. In this garage beneath the kitchen, almost, well, no signal, and that's where the car is, which does over-the-air update, so I want a signal in there. Not much signal here in Alice's bedroom, and, well, it's all right, it's just not very good or reliable. My plan is to go out of the house, up the side, and into the office. I'm going to put a wireless point about here, in the kind of corner, well, middle corner of the garage next to the staircase. So that will take care of this entire floor and this kind of front half of the middle floor. I'm also going to put a Wi-Fi point in the office here, which will take care of this floor and the back half of the middle floor. Wi-Fi is great, but once I'm finished, I should have a nice, strong, robust network in my residential house. I did a thing with a drill and man tool. Actually worked. No pipes have been burst, no cables have been drilled through. Right, that's that done. Now, essentially, I've got cables coming down from upstairs into the garage. One of them is going down and across into the heat pump controller. One of them is going down into the trunking, into the battery inverter. Two are going across that back wall that you just saw me nailing it against. One to here, which is the access point. That's the PoE access point, or it will be when I'm finished. And another cable will be running along there into that room, then into the garage and around the other side into the home charger. For anyone interested, I went for the TP-Link Wi-Fi 6 points because they were on a really good offer. No other reason. Right, so now I just need to plug everything in and drill a hole through that wall down there so I can get it into the PC next door, because that streams a lot of large files. Take that off. I've done more man things and not broken anything. Right, so I've got a network cable in here now, which will connect to the PC in there. That will make it a lot faster. You have to excuse the massive spotlight because it's quite dark in this room. Right, let's wire all this stuff up. Got my little Intel NUC machine here that does all the films. Okay, right. There we go. Alrighty. There we go. So this, don't get me wrong, has been working fine for the past few months on Wi-Fi. It does occasionally drop out to the point where I have to restart the unit and then it comes back online again. Now it's on a physical one. It's not going to change the speed. There's hardly any data coming from this here, the heat pump, but ultimately that should make it more stable, which is what I'm going for. Stable, speed is a bonus. Now, using my man tool with an even bigger drill bit, I managed to drill a hole through the wall, the breeze blocks, all that, to then come out. It's going to go up there and into the office. I put two cables because I wanted an extra CCTV camera up there as well, so I thought I'd kill two birds. Oh, wish I'd have done that in summer, because now I can't fit my hands, it's freezing. Ooh. See, anybody is capable of shouting at a smart speaker to turn things on. So if I can extend that into home battery usage, something to do with the solar panels, like divert my solar or excess solar to the car instead of the home battery, or discharge now if there's a good export rate on the tariff at that moment in time. So once I've finished, Xbox will have a physical connection, which will get rid of the "Daddy, it's lagging" sort of argument, so that's good. I've got a little temporary switch over there in the corner, which I had in the loft, so I'm going to replace that with something better later. I've going to have a physical connection for my laptop, which is just there, and as I do live streaming at least once a month, if you're a member, then that will be beneficial to me. I'm also running a cable around the outside behind that radiator, along that wall behind the camera, and that's where the extra Wi-Fi point is going on the top floor, which is where I now am. And I've also got a few other things that need physical connections, which connect to various other smart devices, although they've always needed that. Cable management, don't you just love it? So this is the Tado connector that's plugged into the same switch that connects to the smart thermostats that I've got on almost all the radiators in the house, and that's the Philips Hue light hub, which again connects to all the smart bulbs in the house. Another benefit of the Hue sensors aren't just to turn lights on and off automatically with movement, but you can also use them to get temperatures of each room. So if I don't have the Tado thermostat in a room, I can get the temperature from the actual Hue sensor as well, or just add other sensors. There's other possibilities like adding sensors to windows so you know if they're open or not for security reasons. Now, as far as the house is concerned, I think I'm pretty much done in terms of the networking. Anything that can have a physical connection now has a physical connection. There's a few upgrades I'll probably do in the near future, but ultimately we're now ready to install Home Assistant itself. And as I said earlier, because I've got the server downstairs, I'm going to install that on a Hyper-V. It just sits there alongside the media center, effectively doing its job. It was pretty straightforward to install. All the instructions are on their website, and this is not a video on how to, okay? It's way more complicated than that. I'm not clever enough. There are way better channels out there that can tell you how to install and configure this. This is essentially what you end up with, and it's very basic right now. All I've done is essentially told it to find anything on my network. That's already on there. So a lot of this is just finding itself. And then I guess it's a case of making the dashboard look pretty and having it all, well, integrated, because certain things like the Give Energy battery, the charger, various other stuff, that's going to take a lot more work because they don't have, at least yet, official Home Assistant kind of plugins, as it were. Find the room I'm in right now, which is called the office. What's the configuration.yaml file? Oh, this is going to be way more difficult than I expected. See, my Tado stuff's on. So why aren't you working? Yes, I made it work. Only took half an hour. Right, so you can see here, if I just go down everything again, I've got lots of details, lots of geeky stuff for each room. I've got the temperature in pretty much all of them, thanks to the Tado thermostat and all the Philips Hue bulbs. You can see here, we've got the heating, humidity, everything's connected. I know it's not that useful for a lot of people out there, but once you start adding things, you know, like door sensors, window sensors, and then battery things, you know, smart plugs. If there's lots of solar, turn this on. If there's lots of, it's kind of if this then that, but better. And again, once you get the tablet sorted out with the dashboard that I showed you at the beginning of the video, that means anybody can use it easily in the house. You just need to keep the background sort of stuff running, really. The video doorbell's on there, so that's okay. And, well, yeah, I guess the fun begins. I'll end the video there. This is part one. Part two will be when I figure out what I'm doing, so it could be months. But yeah, we're done. Let me know if you've got Home Assistant. There's bound to be people watching this that have this implemented and up and running, battery and all, car, you can integrate it with your car, you can do anything as long as it's connected to the internet in theory. I know this is a bit different to normal, a bit more nerdy, but as I said earlier, it means I can make more efficient use of the devices I've got. At least that's what I'm telling the rest of the family, and using it as an excuse to buy more smart home stuff. Thanks for watching. Let me know if you want me to carry on this series. I've already done enough to make it tax deductible, so I'm happy.